before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rain.
and welcome to FOO Bar. This is Tits McGee. Bunny has the night off. Just kidding. It's Bunny. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being here tonight. It's been a long time. Wow. You know, I'm feeling really old now and a little rusty, so bear with me as we get going, and I just can't believe we're doing this again. I'm your host, the FOO, or Bunny. You know, and I like calling myself the FOO these days because it's like that whole talking in third person like The Rock, but I'm not nearly as cool or as buff or as hot as he is. But it's cool. I'm The Rock. I'm the FOO. See how it works out? Yeah, but hey, it works. And we are live on KLRNRadio. Guys, thanks for being here. This has been a long time coming. It's been almost 2 years. It actually has been 2 years since I've been on the air by myself. And it's actually been nearly 2 years since I've been on the air at all. So thank you for being here. Thank you for still caring if I'm on the air yapping about nothing. I actually have some people I need to thank. I know it's totally boring, and I promise we'll get to the whole making fun of idiots here shortly, but I got to do this. So first and foremost, I got to thank my producer, Rick, who's putting up with me again. He's always been there for me. He's always had my back. Michael Kaminsky, guys, he's the guy who actually built the intro you just heard with the cute little unicorns and then the chainsaw and the screaming, and then we brought in one shot. He did all that because he's a nice person. He offered. People are nuts. Also, I need to thank Tots for Masses, who built a bumper you'll probably hear on KLRNRadio. Artist Angie, who's my Twitter wife, she designed the logo. My fam, including my bros for keeping me sane, like the Road Beer, Ian, Musket, Grouch, who, by the way, is on right after me tonight, guys. And he has the Misfits on, so you're going to want to listen because that's going to be rad. He's rad anyway, but those are great guests. And you got Beaker and Tobin and Laz. People are good, and life is crazy. And that's enough said. And we're here. You know, the last time I did this, Obama was still president. And I got to be honest, it was a hell of a lot easier doing this with a Democrat in office. Because every day there was something that ticked me off enough to go on the air and talk about it. But now we have a Republican in the White House. And that makes it a little more difficult. And I think later on tonight when Austin Peterson's here, I know you guys, oh my God, Austin Peterson. When he's here later, we're going to talk a little bit about trying to work within a Republican leadership majority, having a Republican in the White House, and still not being able to shrink government. What are we doing wrong? What are they doing wrong? How do we make this work? What do we need to do? And so I'm hoping Austin, who is Mr. Liberty, can shed some light on that. But it's different. It's really different. And I don't know, you know, a lot of these folks have been doing radio and have not stopped doing it. And so they did that whole transition thing. And I didn't. So I'm having a really interesting time figuring out how to cover this and how to cover Trump. Because if you know me, you know I'm not exactly his biggest cheerleader. And that I spent a long time trying to knock him out of the primary because I just didn't think he should be president. You know, I wasn't sure about him being a Republican even. So it's been really interesting because I decided after he won, what I had to do was take a step back and look at what he's doing well and giving him credit for that. And the things he doesn't do well, raking him over the coals for that. And that's a little different. You know, when it was Obama, it was really easy because he screwed stuff up all the time. You know, the guy couldn't go a day without making a fool out of himself. And it feels like even if Trump is making a fool out of himself, we don't have an opportunity to even look at that because the media is so damn ridiculous that even though I never really supported Trump, even though I'm still not a huge fan, they are so ridiculous that it's hard not to defend what he's doing. And be honest with you, I can't even tell you what he's doing most days. Even though my real life, I watch the news 24/7 because there is so much noise. There is so much drama. There is so much ridiculousness on the left and in the media that it's hard to figure out what's really going on. And so for me, coming back to this, I'm trying to figure out the best way to figure out what he's doing, what's good, what's bad, and what we can all do because we have to have a goal. I think otherwise we're just on the air to hear ourselves talk. And granted, I'm probably one of the first people to admit I love the sound of my own voice. But I think if we don't have a goal that now that we have all this authority and all this power, that we voted all these Republicans in when they said, hey, vote us in and we'll do all this rad stuff. And they're not doing any of this rad stuff. So we got to figure out, what do we do now? Is this about voting them all out? Is this about holding them accountable? Is this about a third party? We are kind of at a place where we spent 8 years bitching on the sidelines. And I'll admit, I was totally bitchy on the sidelines. And that's easy. It really is. It's easy to stand on the sidelines and going, you screwed that up. That's stupid. Why'd you do that? But now we have to figure out how to govern. We have Republicans who have all this power, and they're not doing anything with it. They are taking Obamacare and putting lipstick on a pig and then trying to sell that like it's some great piece of legislation. What gets me is that while Obama was president, they put a clean repeal bill up to Obama 60 times. Not 6, not 12, not even 20, 60 times. And suddenly they can't figure out how to do that? Now that the bill could likely get passed, they suddenly don't know how to do it? They had the damn thing written 60 times. What's so hard about putting it in front of Trump, who will sign it? I guess they knew Obama would never sign it. So they really didn't have any consequences or any follow-through for what they wanted to do. And now that they have that, they're kind of pissing down their leg. So I think as Republicans and conservatives and conservatarians and libertarians and whatever else you are, we have to find a way to work within what has happened and not just be the opposition party anymore. And it's hard. So I think coming back on the air will be really interesting. I'm very excited to be back. I will be honest that I had the biggest case of nerves in my life before I came on the air tonight, because I have this feeling of expectation and I didn't want to let anybody down. And I have to tell you that I'm surrounded by some of the best and smartest people, that here I am and I'm not nervous at all. So that we have going for us in our circles. We have some of the brightest, funniest, toughest people on the right. And we're going to need all of that as we go forward. So I hope you are all here and ready to eat your Wheaties and fight with me, because otherwise we just got a big mess. And then they're going to hold us accountable for this big mess because we didn't fix it. We got to fix it. I don't know about you, but I have 2 kids. They'll be 10 and 12 next week. I know it's crazy. Double-digit kids, both of them. And if we don't fix this, they're going to have to fix it. And I don't want them to have to fix it. So we got to get to work. We got to fix it. And see, I'm on my soapbox already. I've been on the air, 10 minutes, and I'm already ranting and getting on my soapbox. Some things never change. I did make myself some notes, so I wouldn't do that. But there I am doing it. So I have on here, the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is this Cosmos list of women they think can run for president. Did you guys see that? I tell you what. So you look at this list of people, these lists of women. Yeah, they're women who look like men, but they're women. And Cosmo thinks these women should run for president. Now, the one thing I will say is that at least Hillary Clinton was not listed. Thank God. Thank the heavens. Thank whoever you worship. Was not listed. But, Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris, and I think Oprah was in the picture, but not one Republican or conservative woman. Nikki Haley is a badass. Where is she? Why isn't Cosmo paying attention to Nikki Haley? Nikki Haley went to the UN and thumbed her nose at all of them. She would be fantastic. Condi Rice isn't listed. But you look at this list from Cosmo of progressive women who they think could be president, and you just have to laugh because, they're the party of diversity. They're the party of all these different people and types, but really they're not. It kind of came to pass in the 2016 election when they had a bunch of old white people running and we had a ton of different types of folks running, women, men. We had Rubios, we had Cruz, we had all these different diverse candidates, and they had a bunch of white old people. But yeah, they're the party of diversity. And the Cosmo article kind of proved that they're really not. That the only women that they're interested in running are progressive women, which irritates conservative women like me. And I shouldn't be surprised, but I kind of was, because to put out a list like that, it's kind of cocky. It's like, hey, look at all these awesome chicks who could run for president, and they're all progressives. Kamala Harris is like dumb as a box of hammers, and we all know about Elizabeth Warren. Really, people? But, they were talking about Oprah, and that kind of cracked me up, because I could see them pulling an Oprah. But they're going to try and run a woman again. You watch. They're going to try and find a woman that can run against Trump, so they can play the Trump is evil to women card, and they'll play the that he grabs them by certain body parts card, and that will be everything they do in 2020. They're going to try and find a woman. And so we have to be prepared as women again to fight that, because they like to pretend that Republicans are sexist, that Republicans are chauvinists, that Republicans are racists. And so those of us who are women or minorities within the party, we have to be louder and make sure we're heard. And so, if you saw Cosmo and you saw that article and that list and you're a conservative chick, tell them about it. Tell them that there are better and smarter conservative ladies out there who could run for president. But don't tell them me, because I would hate that job. The other thing, because that reminds me, did you guys see the Dyke March? Yeah, and that's DYKE, the Dyke March in Chicago. That thing, they kicked out, no, okay, here we go again with diversity. They kicked out Jews from their parade. Gay Jews. I guess they weren't allowed to be gay Jews. So they kicked the gay Jews out of their parade, which kind of caused, a ruckus, because we all were like, hey, you guys are supposed to be inclusive. Isn't this all about inclusion and empowerment and love? But not you Jews. They actually doubled down on that parade. They actually said that the reason that they kicked the Jews out of the parade is they were bad Jews, and that they were pushing Zionism, and that they were right-wing Jews. So apparently there are good Jews and bad Jews, and the Dyke March didn't like right-wing Jews pushing Israel, and they were upset about the Star of David. Hello, the Star of David represents Jews in general. This is not just a right-wing Zionist thing. So, it's kind of, you go back to the Cosmo thing, and you go back to how bad they failed in 2016. The identity politics is their bread and butter, and it's all they know how to do. And then when it comes to actually dealing with real people and looking at real situations and issues and coming up with actual legislation that's not based on whether or not you're a man or a woman or what color you are, they don't know what to do. They have no clue. What is Rick sent me something there? No, Dyke. Okay, I'm not saying that out loud, Rick. Sorry. My producer's online with me through Skype. He sent me something I'm not going to say on the air. Anyway, the whole point is, and I think what we're seeing a lot on the left, is that they have nothing else but the identity politics. And when that starts falling apart, what is there? There's all kinds of claims. There's conspiracy. There's nothing real. They're telling women they're not equal. They're telling gays they're not included and that they can be discriminated against. It's all the same nonsense that did not win them the election in 2016. So I say we let them keep it up. So that's where I am. I think we're going to take a short break so I can get a drink of water. And when we come back, I have this week's top 10 douchebags of the week. So I want you to stay put since you sent them in. I'll be right back.
Guess who's back? Back again. Bunny's back. Tell a friend.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes. An album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide, I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year. And I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
Isn't that awesome? I love that. You know, I made that joke on Twitter, and a follower and a friend named Tots for Masses decided to make it because he wanted to. So if you know Tots for Masses, tell him how awesome he is and how funny that is, and tell him thank you for making it part of the Bunny Show. And we're back. Thank you for staying put. You know, what I used to do on my show every week was a thing called the Top 10 Douchebags. And basically what we do is we ask people on Twitter and Facebook to send us their suggestions for the top 10 douchebags of the week. Part of it is, for me, is I like to include you guys in the show in any way I can. And so when you send me a list, I can say, hey, this came from you guys. So you're a part of this. You made the douchebags happen this week. So I'm ready to get going. I have 10 of them. So sit back. All right, here we go. This is the top 10 douchebags of the week. We totally need an echo effect there. Okay, number 10 is Johnny Depp. Did you guys see what Johnny Depp did? Besides looking like a reject from Hot Topic, Johnny Depp made some really bad joke about how an actor could or should or would assassinate the president. Gosh, who's an actor? Gosh, who's the president? Oh, you think. No, he paid the price. People erupted in social media. They were calling for Disney to fire him, or they were going to be boycotted. I mean, people were really pissed about what he said. So then he came out and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It was totally a joke. I was just being funny. Oopsie, my bad. And, you know, everyone on the left's like, see, he was just kidding. We're not violent. But you guys are violent. And he's a douchebag at number 10. Number 9, Twitter not allowing live news ads until they deleted tweets asking for Planned Parenthood to be defunded. Did you guys see this? Apparently there's this group called Live News that does articles and information on being pro-life. And they had tweeted out a bunch of information about why Planned Parenthood should be defunded, which is totally awesome. They should be defunded. But what Twitter did was apparently blocked Live News' ads until they agreed to remove any tweets asking for Planned Parenthood to be defunded. Meanwhile, Planned Parenthood's out there with ads everywhere talking about how totally bitchin' they are that they kill babies. But Live News is not allowed to have their ads up because they are asking for them to be defunded. Oh, and the one thing that was totally freaking people out that was inflammatory was the picture of an ultrasound. Because God forbid we know there's actually a baby in there, not a hammer. So Twitter, you are number 9 this week. Number 8 is Bernie Sanders. Now, there's so much we could say about Bernie Sanders. First and foremost, the idiot and his wife are under FBI investigation. So officially, all of the DNC candidates are in trouble with the FBI. Way to go, guys. But, you know, Bernie Sanders has been pushing all kinds of crap because that's what he's known for. The big thing this week was he was pushing the notion that health care is a right, a human right. And it's not. And he's a douchebag at number 8. Number 7 is Lisa Durden. I don't know if you guys know who she is. She is a Black Lives Matter professor. She was at a community college, apparently. And a couple weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago, she went on Tucker Carlson and was defending a segregated event for Memorial Day, saying basically only Black people were invited, only Black people were welcome to this event. And Tucker kind of pushed her and said, but, isn't Black Lives Matter about inclusion and pulling people together, blah, blah, blah. And she basically said, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, your white privilege can't get you into our event. She said this on the air. Well, anyway, she got fired, which she compared to being raped. Yeah, I know. She's not very bright. And that's why she's the douchebag at number 7. Number 6 is Sally Cohn. Oh, Sally, Sally, Sally. You know, just last week, Sally was asking people to turn down the violent rhetoric. I guess a Republican getting shot and almost dying because of rhetoric, maybe that resonated with her finally. Apparently not, though, because yesterday she shared a tweet from another idiot, and it was a poster of Paul Ryan looking very sad, and that he was a wanted man for going on a killing spree in 50 states. So basically she implied that Paul Ryan is killing all these people in 50 states, and that he's wanted. Gee, I wonder what someone on the left who's totally that's not crazy is going to think when they see that this Republican is going to kill them all. It's like she's trying to incite violence. You know, and she got called out. Ben Shapiro went after her like crazy. Twitter exploded, and she had some half-assed apology that she's very sorry, whatever she sent out offended people, blah, blah, blah. But we know she's not sorry because she will do it again, which makes her a douchebag at number 6. Number 5 is Michael Reed, who you probably don't know. Michael Reed is a 32-year-old idiot in Arkansas who decided to run his car into the Ten Commandments monument. Apparently he had an issue with the Ten Commandments being up on public property. So he ran a vehicle into it and likely will end up in jail. I guess before he went on to do it, he was trying to raise money for a new car through GoFundMe. So apparently he knew that he was going to destroy his vehicle running into a monument and was going to need a new car. Problem is he probably will be in jail and can't buy the new car. So Michael Reed, you are a douchebag at number 5. Number 4, Acosta. Poor Acosta and CNN. You know, I don't really have much to say about Acosta. I think we all know why he's a douchebag. He has spent the last 2 days crying that conservatives are getting questions and they're not. So, yeah, he's a pretty big douchebag. You know, I think he went very dramatic about, hey, is this America? Yes, dummy, this is America. I know it got really easy with Obama only talking to you guys, but this is not your circus anymore, boy. You're done. And you're a douchebag at number 4. Number 3 is Republicans putting lipstick on a pig and trying to call it their new health care bill. You know, we talked a little bit about this earlier and the issue we're facing with having progressive Republicans basically representing us. And they're huge douchebags because they were going to hold a vote and say, hey, look what we did. And then Rand and Cruz and a bunch of others, it was Johnson, they were like, hey, dude, we're not voting for this crap because you didn't do what you promised the people you would do. So Mitch McConnell and the other Senate Republicans who are ready to try and push this garbage, y'all are douchebags at number 3. Number 2 is Hillary Clinton. Oh, you know, we had to involve old Hillary. You know, she decided to call the Republican Party the party of death because that's not violent. That's not going to incite anyone. You know, I think she was talking about how we had talked about death panels with Obamacare. Because when the government regulates health care, they're going to decide who does and doesn't get it. That's just the reality of government-run anything. But she took that a step further and said, if you guys pass this bill, you are the death party. God, she's awful. And she wonders why she lost. Not only did she lose, she lost to one of the most unpopular candidates in history. Maybe the most unpopular. He couldn't even convince his own base to vote for him. And he still beat her. And she's a douchebag at number 2. Now, at number 1, I have to tell you, this is more about history and tradition than who nominated him. Number 1 is Obama. Obama sat at number 1 on the douchebag list for 2 years. And you know what? Even though the man is not president anymore, thank God, I'm going to give him a shout out as a douchebag at number 1. Because, you know, we have traditions with Bunny, we have traditions with the FOO, and we have traditions with the top 10 douchebags. Next week, he will not be on the list unless one of you nominates him for a good reason and he says something really stupid, because, you know, he probably will. Because, you know, he's been a douchebag for a long, long time. Also, honorable mentions, the Ninth Circuit Court, because the travel ban was upheld by the SCOTUS. And, you know, I have some listeners who are never Trumps, and I have a lot of followers who are never Trumps. And, honest, they actually put in the Trump admin. So I know. If you're a big Trump fan, sorry, but he gets an honorable mention on this Top 10 Douchebags of the Week. Now, my plan was to take a short break, but I think we already have Austin Peterson on the line. Is that right, Rick?
Yes, he's here.
Austin, are you here?
I'm here. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm terrific, and I'm really just grateful to have a chance to talk to you.
Oh, well, when you said you could make it, I got so excited. I had a total fangirl moment. Got to be transparent with you. So thank you for making time to come on my first show back in a long, long time. One of the things I really wanted to bring you on to talk about, and I kind of ranted about it earlier, is what we're looking at with a bunch of Republicans who have all of this power all of a sudden, and they're not doing anything with it. They're not working to shrink government. So I guess what I'm looking to you for is some, words of wisdom or some advice or what you think we can do on the more conservative, libertarian side of things to maybe work within that and make it happen.
Well, I think a great female author once wrote that the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. And the reality is that I think that they're terrified. You've seen what's been happening with all of these town halls. And yes, many of the people that show up to these town halls are Democrats and, Soros-paid goons that are there to show up to promote the leftist agenda. But nevertheless, they are absolutely terrified because they don't want to come off as sounding, they don't want to come off as sounding as if they are cruel or heartless. I mean, right. Even President Trump was on the record saying that the Republican health care bill was too mean.
Too mean.
So, yeah. And all day long on MSNBC, they're trotting out people who are disabled in wheelchairs who are on life support, and they're saying, hey, that the Senate Republicans are trying to take away our health care options here, and that's why they're scared, because they are unable to, they don't have the backbone, and they don't have the courage to stand up and say, no, what we are proposing in a free market is a system where more people can have access to health care, where health care will be cheaper, where if people are not taxed so much and regulated so much, then we'll have more options. I mean, I think Rand Paul put it the best. He said, we need to make it legal to buy cheap health insurance, because at the moment, it's not legal.
Right. It makes no sense. If you don't need, let's say you're a single dude with no kids, why do you need coverage for kids? Why do you need coverage if you're a man to have a pap smear? None of it makes any sense, but you bring up a great point in that they don't want to come off as the bad guys by doing something that will ultimately help people. So do you think it's messaging, or do you think that the left is just outdoing them with the messaging?
Well, first of all, I don't identify as a man, so I would appreciate it if you stop assuming my gender.
I'm so sorry. That was so cis-normative of me. My bad.
Thank you. So I just want to say, for the record, please don't categorize my gender. The problem is that the left controls the media, so the left controls the narrative. And so when you have a dominant media establishment that is setting the narrative, then many of the people who watch cable news all day long don't know the difference. And we've seen alternative media platforms rise up and start to counter that narrative. Certainly your podcast here is one of those that's out there that's making waves and educating people on what's right and what's true. And that's true citizen journalism, which is making a big difference. But we're just not there yet. I think we're in a big transition phase. But you know what the real problem is, and this is just, again, another one of those things that's true but not fun, is that we're just not very sexy on the right. Conservatism, let's face it, but if you say conservative, if you dress conservatively, well, then you're not dressed sexy. And certainly the ideas, I think the ideas of liberty are sexy, but we're not very good at selling it, because with the fact that our coalitions come along with the conservatives, right? We have libertarianism with conservatism. There has got to be some kind of middle ground between a sort of a puritanical approach to politics and the fat, naked dancing guy smoking a doobie saying, "What is Aleppo?" Right? So
I wasn't going to bring it up. I wasn't going to say it, but when you got a naked guy with a beard dancing around his underwear, it's a little hard to take you seriously. I'm just throwing that out there. But I'm not going to say he was a guy. He was. I'm not going to assume his gender, although I could almost see his gender. But go ahead.
So again, we need better salesmen for our ideas. Because let's face it, I mean, liberals, they've got the sex appeal, they've got Hollywood, they've got the media. Now they can dominate the narrative because young people are going to be attracted to things that are cool, edgy, and that's just how it is. I mean, not that Bernie Sanders is all that attractive, but I mean, certainly free stuff.
Come on,
yeah,
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, no, not my type. Not really.
Go ahead.
If I was into old, then Ron Paul would probably be my homeboy. But
he's not a bad-looking cat. His son is really cute. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm oppressing men. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
The people are gonna get the wrong impression of me. Just so you know, my tongue is firmly in cheek here. But I think that when it comes to getting the Senate health bill right now, it appears to be dead in the water. Although I wouldn't rule Mitch McConnell out. He is a wily politician. And for all we know, there could be some sort of midnight, agreement that could be made right before the 4th of July. And we may see a bill. It's a dangerous time right now because if we don't, it's when you're not paying attention that all the worst bills get passed.
Like Christmas
and
Eve.
You can look at Yep. Take a look at one of the worst years in American history, 1913. They passed the 16th Amendment. They passed the Federal Reserve Act. All of this anti-freedom legislation, and they did it in the Christmas, while everybody had gone home. So we hope that our legislators will stay and fight the good fight.
And I think we have a few of them who are willing to have that fight still, but some of them, I think you're right. I think they're a little scared because there is this whole faction on the right that got painted as this horrible group of people. They're Nazis and they're racists and they hate people, and they, I think it's really hard not to get tied into that. And the other point you bring up is we're not sexy. So how do we get sexy? How do we get people excited about liberty? I'm like you. I think liberty is awesome. I think it's the sexiest thing out there. How do we get other people to figure that out? I don't get it.
Well, here's the thing. The biggest problem I think we have is with the young people, right? It's on college campuses. This is where you see, the young kids are getting indoctrinated with Marxism, right? They're getting indoctrinated with sort of, the whole leftist agenda, and we see it on these college campuses where, the anti-fascist movement, Antifa, is out there at Berkeley, and they're stifling free speech. And these kids have no concept of American history or the principles of liberty, and they're told from an early age that all white people are racist and that this is a patriarchal system, and that they're and they have to compete in the oppression Olympics in order for them to have value, right? Intersectionality, right? It's the whole concept of if you're more oppressed, then you get more participation trophies or awards or whatever.
Out-victiming the next person, which kind of happened at the Dyke March. Well, we're lesbians and we are way bigger victims than you Jews, so get out. And that's what's happening in a lot of these. Like the Women's March was the same deal. Who's more oppressed, women or black women?
Right.
It's a disaster. So, yeah, absolutely.
Right, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I want to live in a world where gay married couples can defend their marijuana fields with fully automatic machine guns. But
say it.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
But the thing is that if you're free to engage in commerce and free to defend the fruits of your labor, then you're not going to be a communist, right? Because commerce and capitalism is the best way to defeat communism, which is why I get so upset when I see us doing things like rolling back the travel, pushing back the travel bans to Cuba, because I really believe that the best way for us to fight these bad ideas is with good ideas. We shouldn't adopt the tactics of the people who are opposing us. We should always rise above. We should always try and be a better person. We should always try and remember that the principles that really are going to make America great again are the principles that we are founded on: freedom, free markets, individualism, liberty, and limited government.
And when you say it, it all makes sense. But when let's say I get on Twitter and I decide to engage somebody who is screaming at me about gay people and how gay people are evil and that I'm, as a conservative, I shouldn't support that lifestyle and that I should turn it away. How do I get people like that to understand that liberty and freedom is not about judging those, but it's hard because then you have the theocrats inside the Conservative Party.
Yeah, oh yeah.
How do you bridge that gap? That makes me crazy.
Good question. Well, here's the thing. You've got to point out the truth. And that is that the culture wars in that sense in many ways are over because gay marriage is the law of the land. So now, a lot of conservatives have actually come around to the libertarian argument on marriage, which is that the government shouldn't be in the marriage business at all because the government shouldn't be able to force you. Yeah, because once they can force you to accept a gay marriage, then they can force you to bake the cake, and then they can force the pastors to marry them in the churches. Yeah. And that's but that's because we have eroded the concept of private property. And listen, if somebody in my town is being hateful and they're like, well, we're not going to bake cakes for Jews. Well, then guess what? If you're not going to bake cake for Jewish people, I'm going to stand outside your property with a Star of David and say, "Go Jews!" I'm going to bake cakes for the Jews, and I'm going to fill that market need.
Right,
but that's the thing is that
that's me. I'm the capitalist. I'll bake the damn cake. You bet.
Listen, Martin Luther King said that hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. So we really need to get back to foundational principles. And we have right now. I think the anger, the ocean of anger is what sort of propelled Trump into office because of it was a backlash to the despicable hatred and racism and just absolutely disturbing tactics that the left has been engaging in, and people were sick of it. I don't blame them. But we have got to get back to the principle that I really think that the principles of liberty come out of love, because in some sense, if you believe in liberty, then you believe in loving your fellow man because you trust them enough for them to be free. And that's what we should be about. So I want to civilize society.
They do not trust. They don't trust people. That's what it boils down to with Democrats. They want to control people with laws and regulations, making them do things they think they should do because they don't trust people. They don't believe in people at all.
Of course, and of course, if you take that to its logical conclusion, you say, okay, well, if you don't trust people and you think people are innately evil and don't do the right thing, then why would you want to give power to a very tiny, small amount of people, ultimate power, if you think that people are innately evil? So that's the last thing you want to do is to concentrate power into a small amount of people's hands. I mean, they're so naive. They think that we'll get the good people and we'll give them the power. But it's
good people.
It's the road to serfdom. It's the road to serfdom. It's all it is.
It is, but they're fine because they want to be that ruling class. You're too dumb to think for yourselves, so we're going to pass laws that will help you live your life, and then you'll do what we want you to do, and we'll stay in charge. It is all about elitism, and it is a ruling class. And I think the idea of freedom scares the hell out of them. Because with freedom, you can screw up. Your life could be crap, but you've made those choices, and you should be able to make them without having to worry about the government telling you what to do. I can't see how that's not sexy. I don't get it. How is that not sexy? Live your life.
The truth is that you're right. Freedom is dangerous as hell, but I prefer it to the alternative. I think Thomas Jefferson had a famous quote that I like to bust out when he said that timid men prefer the calm of despotism to the boisterous seas of freedom. And he's absolutely right. People are terrified. They're scared. They're scared of people coming across the border. They're scared of terrorist attacks. And why? Why is everybody so scared? They're scared because the media tell them to be scared all day long. The politicians gain power because they know that if they tell you to be afraid, if they hype the threat, then you will give everything that you have, including your freedom, for a false sense of security. I totally oppose it.
Oh, yeah. I think you should. I'm kind of like that. I always think of parents when I think of Republicans and Democrats, and that Democrats won't let the kid get in the water because they're scared the kid's going to drown. The Republican dumps the kid in the water and says, swim. And I really think I've always kind of thought that way about the two parties when they really were two parties. Now, though, we have progressive Republicans doing the same stuff that progressive Democrats are doing. And that goes back to the whole Obamacare 2.0. They repealed it 60 times under Obama. Why aren't they doing that now? I don't understand. Is it because they're mean?
a lot of these people their districts, a lot of these people in their districts are on the exchanges, and they're scared that they're going to get their health insurance cut. But you know what? The thing is that I was one of the people who lost my health insurance when Obamacare was passed.
My family.
Nobody cares about me.
Oh God,
yeah,
no.
Yeah, I was getting great insurance. Yeah, I was getting great insurance for less than $100 a month. I just started my own business, and then all of a sudden, boom.
You were privileged. That's why. The same thing happened to my family. We had the same policy for almost 10 years through Blue Cross. Gorgeous policy. I had a premature child. It covered us in the NICU. It covered all her therapy. We were happy to pay for it. Obamacare said it was too good. They took it away from us. They stripped our insurance away. It wasn't people choosing not to buy it anymore, which is what really is the Republicans, what they want to do. You don't want to buy it, don't buy it. They literally took our plan from us, but they don't want to talk about that because, we just didn't know our plan was crap, and so we just didn't know any better. Again, going back to the idea that Democrats think people are stupid. People can't make decisions. Yeah. It's the same deal.
Yeah. Isn't that ironic, Democrats calling people stupid? That is the height of irony to me,
It is. Well, they're the ones who tell us how diverse they are, but then they only want certain types of women running for president. God forbid a conservative woman, a Joni Ernst or a Condi or a Nikki Haley says, hey, I'm going to run. They won't support that.
But, that's the wrong. Well, yeah, but remember Karen Handel in Georgia 6? I mean, she broke the glass ceiling. First female congresswoman elected in that district.
But she's the wrong type of woman to break that ceiling, so she doesn't count. Feminists were literally calling her a bigot, and that's why they wouldn't support her. And, Karen Handel actually handled that video really well. I don't know if you saw the video where they were claiming that she said that her faith wouldn't allow her to support a gay couple adopting. The left ran with that, and they said, look how bigoted she is. She hates gay people. Well, I watched the video. And what she said is, you know what, my faith I don't support that personally. But the law says XYZ. The Supreme Court said XYZ. So it doesn't matter what I think. You're protected. You're fine. The law says otherwise. She was honest about who she is and what her opinions are. She didn't say, I don't like gay people. She didn't say anything hateful. She just said, personally, this is how I believe. And she did tell her how the law works. They called her a bigot for that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's all they got. I mean, all they have is insults because they don't have any economics on their side, right? I remember watching Bernie Sanders versus Ted Cruz in that town hall debate. And the woman who was the business owner said, we cannot afford to pay for health insurance for these employees. It's like, well, then you shouldn't be in business. Have you ever run a business? Bernie, have you ever run a business in your life? Have you ever been anything but a tax sucker? I mean, your entire life.
No.
He's never created one single job. Yeah, no. He's never created one single job.
Dude has 3 houses, and, he had something about deodorant that he didn't like. He's just insane, and he's one of their main people. I don't get it. I had a woman today telling me that she believes Republicans want to hurt people deliberately, and that's why they passed the laws they passed. She believed this. I almost slapped her to prove her right, because are you kidding me? This is what we think. We think we want to hurt you because we want to get government out of your life. Yeah, I was going to knock her out. Right, I just hurt you. Merry Christmas.
I think we're too polarized. Listen, during the constitutional debates, the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, they had a lot of differences, and they had a lot of disagreements when it came to whether or not there would be a new government, a new constitution, because the Articles of Confederation had been unworkable. But the difference between the Anti-Federalists and the Federalists and the Republicans and the Democrats of today is that at the end, they came together, and despite their differences, they did what was best for our country. Right. And I just don't see that today. It's like the movie Idiocracy. We're just getting dumber and dumber and dumber, and we're not getting. And where are the statesmen? Where are the stateswomen? Where are the true civil servants in society? Where are the Martin Luther Kings? Where are the civil rights leaders? I mean, we're looking at, is Al Sharpton? Is that it? I mean, where are our leaders of liberty? I would take a good Democrat. Well, you know what? Actually, I will say there is one Democrat who is in office right now who has come up on my radar. I will say nice things about. Her name is Tulsi Gabbard. Now, Tulsi Gabbard and I do not agree on economics. We do agree on many of the social issues, but I'll tell you what. I know that Tulsi Gabbard is trying to do what's best for our country. And if we had more people like Tulsi Gabbard or maybe like Jim Webb in the Democratic Party, like, John F. Kennedy wouldn't recognize the Democratic Party up today.
No, Jim Webb,
So
he went in that one debate and he's like, screw this. These people are insane. I'm not going to run. Are you high?
I know.
Because Jim was a real Democrat.
One of my favorite memes that came out of the presidential cycle was Jim Webb when he's standing on stage and he's looking around at everybody like they're nuts, and the sign says, "I haven't been surrounded by this many commies since Vietnam."
It's true. He looked like he didn't know where the hell he was and what he was doing, and he kept kind of looking to the side. It's like, is this a joke? But even in the Republican primary, it was so awful, and it was just all of it was entertainment. It wasn't real, and we don't have anything real now. I like Justin Amash. I think is stunning, and I think he's brilliant, and I think he's tough. I like Cruz. I like Lee. I think there are some people out there who are willing, and of course, Rand. But I feel like you. I'm like, who's in charge? We're the adults. Aren't we supposed to be the adults? But we're not acting like adults. So how do we bridge that gap? That's partly the reason why I ran for office last year. Running for president of the United States, your first time ever running for anything as 35 years old, it's a tad presumptuous. But quite frankly, you got to be honest. Yeah. You are being way humble. If the Libertarians had put you up, I would have voted for you. I would have worked for you. I would have campaigned for you. You had the right message and the right idea for what we had been through for the past 8 years. You're being humble. That's okay. And I won't call you a dude, but you kicked ass. Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you. And, I felt called to serve because I thought it was the right timing. But that's the thing is that I think that there's an inability on the behalf of some of our leaders, even our good guys, to sort of recognize the environment that they're playing in and to properly play the game. I think Donald Trump, actually, for all of his faults, and the Libertarians got mad at me for praising him on this, is that Donald Trump accurately understood the environment that he was playing in.
He did.
And as a reality show star, you can talk down on him for that. Yeah. But that is the reality of the world that we live in. He was the guy that beat Hillary Clinton. He did what so many other people claimed they could do, but he did it. And how he did it was he was able to fight the Democrats on their own turf and to beat them at their own game. Really? So, listen, I'm not opposed to making fun of a few idiots when they get out there and they start spouting their socialistic, principles. And you got to be willing to, I have a pretty good sense of humor, and I think Donald Trump does too. I mean, quite frankly, I'm laughing all the time at all the antics that are going on. It's not necessarily,
you're bringing up a good point.
Necessarily.
Because, I was really hard on Trump, and I'm the first to admit I was a real pain in his butt. But you're right. Yeah. He knew how to play it. He knew the angle. Yeah. He knew what he could get away with. He knew what people wanted to hear. And I think part of that's just from being a hell of a marketer. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. He's got my respect for that. Yeah, during the presidential primaries, man, the Libertarians would always get so mad at me, and I would try and explain to them, like, you have got to learn the lessons that Donald Trump is trying to give to you, and that is that in this media frenzy, this environment, the only way that you're going to beat these people at their own game is to play the game on their ground and to go. I think Michelle Obama would like to say, when they go low, we go high, but that ain't what it is anymore. You got to fight. You got to sometimes when I say fight dirty, I don't necessarily mean cheat, but
right.
But what I mean is that, for example, in the debates with Gary Johnson, I knew that he believed that Christians should be forced to bake, wedding cakes for gay couples. So knowing that, I laid a trap for Mr. Johnson, and I said, Governor, would you force a Jew to bake a cake for a Nazi wedding? And he said yes.
Oh,
and
I remember. Really?
A little drama.
But you know what? It worked. Poor Johnson.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
And I was so mad when they went with Johnson, and I got fussy with you even. I'm like, what the hell are you guys thinking? Just no. And I think
the guy threw my gun. I get. trash. So I mean, there's not a lot of love between the two of us. But
you were a class act. You came out and you said, guys, we got to work together. You got to try and support, and you got to, even when people like me who were bitching and moaning, you're like, we got to figure out a way. And I did vote for Johnson ultimately because my daughter told me he seemed like the nicest one.
He was the nicest one. Dude. Yeah, and he's got a lot of problems, but he also had a lot of positives, and I'll admit that. And the truth is that I just think it's. I just want to do the right thing. I want to do the right thing for our country and do the best I can. And, we all make mistakes and we all do dumb stuff. And, I wasn't a perfect candidate either, but I think that in some sense, sometimes you got to step up and you got to take the torch and you got to lead. I
agree. Sir, where do people find you these days? I know you have a lot going on. I know people want to keep up with what you're doing. Where do they find you? What's the best place to look for you?
Best place to find me, Twitter, AP4 Liberty. That's AP, the number 4, Liberty. And then, of course, Facebook is Producer Peterson. Just a little tease. On the 4th of July next week, I will have a major announcement. And no, it's not that I'm not transitioning to a woman, but it will be something. No, it will be something that I think your listeners will enjoy. Yes. And I hope that they will tune into my Facebook page. Producer Peterson, facebook.com/Producer Peterson. It's going to be about 6 p.m. Central Time, and you'll get to see some fireworks and a little bit of 1776 in your life.
Love it. Well, do me a favor. Send me, if there's a link or something that I can share with my Twitter folks and on my Facebook page, I'd be happy to send them your way. Dude, I can't thank you enough for staying on with me. I didn't expect you to stay 27 minutes, and you did, so thank you so much. You made my first show back so much fun, and for talking Liberty with me.
Thank you.
And you're welcome anytime. Folks, this was Austin Peterson. Again, if you get a chance, look him up. Sir, have a nice night. Thank you again for calling in.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I totally had a fangirl moment. I'm not going to lie. I have been a huge Austin Peterson fan for a long time. And so, yay, I get to talk to him. Being on the radio is so rad. You guys, it's 57 minutes in, and we're almost done. I can't believe it. I feel like we just started. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. If you want to find me online, find me at Politibunny. It's at POLITIBUNNY. Yes, I can spell my name. I'm also on Facebook. It's actually GOP Bunny. Long story. I'll explain it later. Again, stay put because Grouchy is next. The conservative curmudgeon is next, and he'll have the Misfits on for his interview. So stay put. Thanks for being here, you guys. You made it really special. I'm so excited to be back and so glad to have all of you here as part of my audience. You made it a lot of fun. I see you in the chat room. You guys are maniacs. Thank you so much for being here. And I tried not to laugh, so I couldn't look at you guys. Stay around for Grouchy. I'll see you guys next week, 7 p.m. Eastern, same bat channel, same bat time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
There is a place behind these